speech with AI, but I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to go straight to talk about my experience. So 8 years ago, I wrote this book. I'm coming, so I wrote a lot of things here. 8 years ago, I wrote this book without AI. Please put your hands together for me. This year, I wrote this book with AI. Put your hands together for me. So I am of the school of thought that writing with your brain and writing with AI, having a balance is what makes you a superstar. I work with a lot of Gen Z people, and you see all these things I was saying, all these prophetic things, they don't understand this. There's a latest one that is going, what was that? Type what?
Type
They
sheet.
know it. They know it. The thing is, whether we like it or not, we have come to the point where AI has a role to play, and our creativity also has a role to play. So today we're going to be talking about the fact that, okay, we're going to do two things. You're going to either be on one side or the other side. So one side is thumbs up, AI is not killing us. The other side is AI is killing us. So wherever you are, it's perfect. It's a debate, so it's okay to be on either side. So this is not to compromise. This is not anything. So I prepared a speech for him, but I kept meeting him everywhere. It means that there's some things I want to do with him. He wrote a fantastic book that is now a book that every young child wants to read. Did you use AI? You didn't use AI. Fantastic. Now, that particular book basically is about superheroes in Nigeria. And me, I always see myself as a superhero. So that book, every time I meet him, I always want to collect the book, but I don't get to collect it. So we're going to ask him. Now, if you are given an opportunity in 2025 to write that book, would you still write it with your brain, or you would put a little bit of AI? This is what I think AI is. We are beautiful as African women, but AI is all this makeup, can you see this powder that we put on ourselves, and all this lip gloss. So this is AI. Do you understand? There is foundation. There is no only foundation. There is powder. There is mascara. There is eyeliner, and there is lip gloss. So AI is all these things you can see, but the real me is what I'm expressing to you now. So would you write that book with AI, or would you just say, well, let me use my brain? Any Gen Z in the house? Hallelujah. Any Gen Z in the house? So I don't like meetings that Gen Zs are not there, because I'm a Gen Z and I behave like a Gen Z. So when I come into a place, I make noise. So that's one characteristic of us that are Gen Z. So whether I'm 60 or 70, I will always be a Gen Z. All right, so over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for that question.
You're welcome.
Ordinarily, a lot of people will come out and say they wrote with AI, they wrote a book with AI. Everyone wants to accrue the credits to their skills, their creativity and all that. It's very rare and scarce in Nigeria particularly to see anybody accept that they used AI. I'm a very traditional person, but I'm still modern. I'm not that old, but I like to act in it sometimes. So I kind of, I don't know if it is not out of pride. It's just the fact that I want to feel like this is an original work from me. As a result, I may not use AI in helping to curate my ideas for that particular book, but I will definitely introduce AI on the long run. It could be in the aspect of editing or confirming some information, or in the idea of putting a particular line or text together in a better form. So yes, of course I will introduce AI, but in a different way that some persons may apply it. So it doesn't make AI less.
Fantastic. All right. Let's put your hands together for him. We're not here to do, you know what this is here to do? We still have a long session. So if you are feeling tired, now you need to stretch yourself out, okay? So the next person we're going to talk to is our lady seated here. And Pen, Now, from the time you actually founded PEN till now, do you think that AI coming to show now has helped you as someone, as a founder, a creative?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So first of all, I'm actually not the founder of PEN.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just the current president.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in incorporating AI into today's writing today as a PEN members, I think it's an individual thing. People can decide, oh, I want to use AI for my writing and all of that. I'll talk for myself now. As a writer, I really do not use AI. I write my book from my own traditional point of view because I write a lot about culture. And if you can't, you will not really get that in-depth cultural knowledge from AI. AI does not know the African culture. It will only give you the information that it has, that it has stored over time. So as a person, I really do not use AI. I think the only time I used AI was when I was trying to do some intonation on my write-up, and I needed to get the Yoruba maps correctly because I really don't know that. So that was when I used AI. But apart from that, I really do not use AI. But then, I believe that AI is the future, right? It's the new literature. But then, I would only appreciate that in terms of editing, publishing, distribution, marketing. For some of us, right, while writing, we get stuck. When we get stuck, you want to take a break. It could be a week, it could be a day, just for you to get, fresh ideas. But with AI now, you really do not need to wait. All you need to do is put all your original ideas into AI, and then it helps you bring out that thing that you want. And if it's not what you want, you can always contest it until you get the perfect thing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So now I have my Oga at the top. He's not seated right here. He's actually online. So let's welcome Professor Tassi, and then I want to give him a Genge question because he's a professor. Okay, so can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so this is the question. It's a very, very, very complicated question. So, Dr. Tassi, given your legal and political expertise, what ethical or legal framework should guide the use of AI in publishing, education, and content creation? How can we ensure AI strengthens rather than undermine reading culture?
Okay, so I think we have 30 minutes for this session, so we'll try and answer in some minutes. So it's a tough question in the sense that there's, particularly in Nigeria currently, there's no one particular law or policy that guides AI use. And there's a lot of things that are involved even in the space of content creation. In the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to engage with a lot of content creators, and many of their works are infringing copyrights. And they don't even understand what copyright is. I had an argument with a conversation with a Gen Z highly influential content creator, and she was unable to understand that many of her videos have issues that infringe on copyright and mere acknowledgement of people's works, and so that, in my mind, creates a big concern, particularly when you find that in the classrooms, that many students today are reliant on AI to do basic tests, basic take-home assignments, and taking away I would say, the pleasure of reading, taking away the pleasure of using and going out of the box to analyze issues and ask yourself questions. And I, for one, do not use AI. I've chosen not to understand it, but I'm increasingly having cause to try and read what AI is about to get some knowledge. And it's because I have a teenager and one soon to be a teenager who are asking probing questions on should we use AI, should we not. So in the space of law, we don't have any direct law that says or provides guidance on AI in Nigeria. The EU tends to, I would say, lead the conversation in the space of regulating AI use. If you look at some content creation, in fact, there's some jokes where you go to the doctor's office and the doctor is using AI to try and diagnose you. And the doctor is reading the verbatim, what he called AI, and you've done your research. And then as the doctor is speaking, you're saying the same thing, and you're wondering what kind of, this is of course a joke, but it can show what could go wrong if there's no strong regulation that guides the use of AI. Then in a situation where we have issues of power failure, imagine you're highly dependent on like COVID-19 hit, right? And you're highly dependent on AI, and as you're in the course of very important tasks, power goes off, and you've raised a generation of people who can think without AI. What happens? So I mean, everybody's hoping that Nigeria or some countries will have issues of power continuously. But until the next probably 10, 15 years, we have those challenges to address. So I would say that the perfect law should recognize our current circumstances. The perfect law should recognize where we are trying to get to as a people. And then the perfect law should recognize that there's no foolproof system. Even in developed countries, we have power outages. So any system that has built is reliant on a process that assumes that there will be no, see COVID-19. COVID-19 disrupted many people, many systems. So having a society building on a system that is that could or is not foolproof could create issues. And so I would say that the perfect law hasn't been made yet. Nigeria is would hopefully learn from several jurisdictions to ensure that when we do have a regulation that at least strengthens the conversation around AI use and hopefully for development. Sorry, I had to be fast too because of time. Thank you.
Please put your hands together for Professor Cassie. Alright, but still today's topic is still artificial intelligence, stimulus or death for the reading enterprise. Okay, so I'll come back to some things we talked about. Now, I realized that from the time I wrote my very first book, my very first published book, Queen and Rights, to the time I wrote this, a lot of things have happened. I basically sat down and it took a long while for me to get this done. And it was everything, my creativity, the inspiration of the Holy Spirit and all that. But I realized that I still needed the thing I had, what I used to write this thing, I still needed to write, I still needed that thing to make this a reality as well. And what was that? An idea. AI, artificial intelligence, cannot help you come up with an idea. You probably will come up with an idea, but you still need a time. You know the writing process, we're all writers. Now, I want to focus basically on reading. AI is a tool. Like I said, AI is makeup. Can we all say that? AI is makeup.
AI is makeup.
AI is eyeshadow.
AI is eyeshadow.
AI is lip gloss.
AI is lip gloss.
And what's that pink thing? Blush. AI is blush. Please say that. There are many men here. Where are the girls? Okay, so men, let's teach you some things. So AI is blush. So if I don't have a cheek, what will I blush? So everybody that is a reader always comes to that point where they think about the fact that, oh, I want to read a book. Once you think about the fact that you want to read a book, then I can tell you that AI has been helping me read. Why? There are audiobooks. How many of you have heard of audiobooks? Do you know I read my Bible more now? Because it's simple now. I wake up in the morning, bam, put my Bible, and before you know it, I can read more than what I would normally read when I have to read with my eyes. We're living in a generation, all the Gen Z, they don't take, they have little attention span to do anything. So this minute they are doing one thing, next minute they are doing another thing. So if we say let's take out AI and not use it, it's not a Gen Z thing. It's definitely not a Gen Alpha thing. I'm also a teacher. You keep a child and you say, I read these things, and they're like, they will not read. But when you start to jump up and you start to show them pictures, this book is a picture book. From back to back, all the pages are filled with pictures. All were AI generated. I told AI what to do. My ideas now became pictures. Now a child sits down, there's nobody I've taken this book to that sees it, that doesn't want to make sure everybody reads it. Now let's flip to what AI did not do. And tell me whether, Gen Z, tell me whether you want to read these plenty words at a sitting. Do you want to read this much word without anything? They will not read it. Now, our focus is basically on the younger generation because we as elders, we are oak trees. We formed our ideologies, our beliefs, everything that makes us who we are. But if we want to make reading interesting for the next generation, we need to engage the tools of AI. Alright? So I'm going to ask him, because he has a book for kids. You are going to talk about yourself, your projects, and do you think the children are reading more now that they have ebooks than the times when they had to just come and then read the physical copies of your book? I read a book like this, and I sent it to my friends' kids in Italy. Do you know they sat down and finished it all at once? But if we keep them all these ones, they will say, I'm not ready to. It's missing, And that's what I've experienced. I've been a teacher for the past 20 years. And these children don't even want to have anything to do with all this. But give them a tab, give them a phone, and let that thing you want them to do with that thing. They will stay there until the phone battery dies. So, sir, have they read your book more than when they read it the very first time? Or is your book still just physical? Or do you have an ebook to help other readers, read the book? So tell us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The book titled Nigerian Superheroes is based off of the spirit of Nigeria. When you see a Nigerian doing very well out there, the first thing that comes to mind is this is the Nigerian spirit. So I took that Nigerian spirit, I personified it, and made it a woman. And then she became an empowerer in program. She gave supernatural power to 3 young boys, one from the 3 tribes in Nigeria, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. And then she admonished them not to do anything wrong with their powers. So the lesson in that book, it spans generations for me, not just for young people, but also for adults. When we are talking about AI and reading, of course, AI is going to help a lot with reading. For example, somebody who has a certain interest and does not know the kind of book to read. If you are guided by AI can choose for you. Most times we think people don't read. It's just that people haven't really seen books that interest their perspectives or their interests that catches them. And then I have come to realize that AI in Africa hasn't even started crawling yet. Because we have AI, like we know, especially LLMs, they are responsive to what you have fed them. The question is, what is Africa feeding AI? Have we even started? Have we really defined what AI is in terms of the African setting? Most times, if you even ask AI to generate a video for you of, say, a village in one Yoruba land or in Benin, you realize that it still has this Western touch. Either it's the way the name is pronounced or spelled. Why? Because we have not localized AI. So when we are talking about AI, I don't think AI is in Africa yet. Yes, I don't think, because we have not really localized it. We have not made it ours. There's no investment in Africa for AI. There is nothing you will impute in AI. Of course, it has this little knowledge about Africa. But like she mentioned earlier, you heard her say it cannot really impact on the traditional aspect of our thinking. Yes, it has a superficial level of understanding of the African setting, but it still does not have that out Western type of thinking for Africans. So when it comes to using AI for reading, we have not filled AI with African books yet. So even if we want to help Africans to read, what kind of African books will AI recommend to these African children? In the end, it will still refer Shakespeare and others to African children. And then these African children, they can't even read this thing and enjoy it that much. Of course, I know they enjoy cartoons and all that. But still, if we want to truly make AI African, we need to first invest in feeding it Africa. And it starts with African literature. When we begin to feed AI with African literature, that's when we begin to talk about how AI will impart on reading. The reading culture is still bad. Of course, you wanted to argue with me that AI is already in Africa, but it hasn't helped the reading culture in Africa. It will not help the reading culture in Africa because we have not fed it anything that is African, that will make the African child wants to use the AI and then personalize AI. AI can still not be personalized yet, so it has not really helped with reading. Well, yes, it's good for summarizing and recommending books, but we still don't have books for AI to recommend to African children.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so let's flip the coin to you. Say a little about your organization and what you do, and then how we can infuse AI. Like you said, AI has not been Africanized, but I don't agree totally because there's groundwork, and then I'll talk a little about the groundwork so you will know that it's actually taking
Nothing upward.
it's ground. You know how it is. We in Africa, when something gets planted in Africa, it grows like wildfire in split seconds. That's how we are as Nigerians. So your organization, reading, and all of that. So how is it? What level do you think that you can you use AI with as in for your vision? Is it something that can push your vision to realize what you intend for it to realize?
Thank you. So about our application, we are in Nigeria, and we are poets, essayists, journalists, novelists in Nigeria. Actually, the big body is in the UK, PEN International. So we are the Nigerian Center of PEN International, and what we do basically is we advocate for freedom of expression. Whatever it is we want to express in a positive manner, please do that without any barrier, right? And now, how do we infuse AI into what we do, right? So in terms of creativity, in as much as I use AI a lot in my office, right? Because I'm into I write scripts for SQL and all of that, and I use ChatGPT to do that. But in terms of what I do as a passion, which is writing, right? I really cannot use AI. I need that creativity, I need that originality from me, which is the idea you talked about, right? And then at times, for us as an association, some of our writers might decide that, okay, maybe I got stuck at this point about coming up with this ideology, and I need to do better, or I need a refined plot. Yeah, they can always possibly. So we will not say that, oh, as PEN Nigeria, we are not in support of AI. AI is the new literature. It's like an amplifier, right, to make things better. In as much as we would advocate for that originality, for that creativity, you cannot give what you do not have. If you do not have that talent, you cannot do anything about it.
Fantastic. All right. So, Professor Tassi, this final question is for you because we're rounding up now. You have 2 children. Okay. So how? A lot of parents say, no, I don't want them to have smart devices because I don't want them to get into all these kind of harmful sites. How are you able to make sure that the 2 children you have personally, they are not, they are not, what's the word? How do you control their use of AI as a father? And then for Tolu Lope books, how do you make it work for your readers then? Do you use AI, or are you strictly of the school of thought that we should just not use AI?
Yeah, so I think I need to realize that it's going to be a losing battle if I say no to AI, given that I guess is the future, the present and likely to be the future. So my approach has been how does one guide its use. So I look at AI as like a research tool, right? I mean, as a professor, one of the things we are doing for the rest of one's life is research. And so you can use it as a source for research. I disagree with using it to write, for instance, I would never use it to write a paper. And I can use AI to search what are the current literature, read up the literature, and more as a resource for enhancing my work, but not to replace my ability to think. And so that's my approach, at least working with my children and working with the club. The goal is letting that these resources are available to be used. Say, for instance, you would not use Wikipedia as a resource, irrespective of what is there, because it's not peer reviewed. One of the speakers today have talked about peer reviewing. AI has some kind of algorithm that does some peer reviews, but if you look at it in depth, you see there are lots of errors. So I encourage children to know that these resources are available, but use it sparingly, not attempt to use it to replace your ability to think, your ability to, because it's joy in analysis, it's joy in putting in your own effort in it. If you allow AI to take that from you, then it takes away the joy of being of scholarship. So use it, but use it in a responsive way.
Fantastic.
But the question is, what's the definition of responsive way? So that's ambiguous again. So I guess that each person has to define, it's like salvation. Each person has to define his own path. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic answer. Please put your hands together for Professor. I think the first professor I'll be with, and I'll not feel like I'm having a headache because of the big, he makes complex things easy. So please, that's a very good point. So I would like to say that, to answer his question, if you take my phone now and you go to my ChatGPT, I have fed it information about Nigeria, Sapele, where I'm from. That thing knows plenty things about Sapele. It knows about Banga and starch. What you put into AI, it will give you. So most times he said, are we making sure, like what we are doing, I like the Nigerian spirit. When you sow a seed in Nigeria, give it time. There's this celebrity that some things have been happening to her recently. Do you know how that thing has blown up? I was reading some comments, they were not even Nigerians, posting her. And I was like, anything that comes to Nigeria, it blows up for promotion. Now, I set up the African Writers Tribe for this purpose. I just realized that, imagine if me, I'm in Nigeria, I'm a Sapele girl, I put all the information on ChatGPT. Where are you from? She's from Ogun State. She puts everything about Ogun State in ChatGPT. You come, where are you from? Edo State, my mom is people. You put all those things. There is no, we Africa, we Nigerians, we are table shakers. So my encouragement to everybody watching this, take your ChatGPT and start feeding it with information about where you are from. Give it videos. Me, for what I do now, I take pictures. Let me before I get there. I take pictures, I go to places like this. I feed pictures about some places. It tells me this is what Festac looks like. I said no, this is not what Festac looks like. I snap pictures, I put it on my ChatGPT. It recognizes it. How was I able to write this book? It's a book about Apapa. How was ChatGPT able to know that Apapa is a seaport? It is the information I fed it. Do you understand? So most times we can come up with a lot of things, but let's sow the seeds. The seeds are small, but keep sowing it. Sow it on all your AI devices, even your pictures. There are times when you say create an image of somebody, they will now create an image of a blondie. I say no, make her black like me. Then I'll now put a picture. And all of a sudden, if I say create pictures for me, it creates for my nationality. It could create from death. Death could say, do a picture of a handsome dude, you know. It will create the handsome dude looking exactly like Jeff. Do you understand? So it's what you feed it in. The African Heritage Tribe, we're doing researches, we're doing a lot of things. So as a member of the African Heritage Tribe, as a member of the African Heritage Tribe, it's a mandate for you to go and push out information. They've told us our stories. It's now time for us to begin to tell our stories. And how do we do it? Let's sow the seed. I was here last year, and I said we're taking books to everywhere. Do you know that all these books now, by the grace of God, all the local government areas in Lagos, they started saying it's true. Because we're documenting what they've done. Have they worked in the past 100 days? That's what basically this book is about. Now, have they worked? Yes. Show us pictures. So all those things, they were documenting the real things. So when we come back next year again, let it be that your seed that you sown has become a large plant, such that at least some people can come and say, okay, this AI that they've come up with, it will work in our advantage. So you wanted to say something?
Yeah, and when it comes to data feeding for AI, it's a major industry in itself.
Yes.
So it's not something that is because, in fact, I know some companies that invest billions of dollars in just data.
Yes.
Google itself sometimes for XAI, they even think they don't have enough data to feed. That's
What I said was seeds.
You are correct. What I'm trying to say is that while you are doing yours on the individual level, we need to start encouraging bigger industries to feed AI with African culture, African ideology, and African nature, so that it becomes more African than it currently is.
Okay, so let's make a pledge. Now, everybody, raise your hand before we go to the country. No, raise your hand. Say, I pledge. Sorry. We just want to do a pledge, and we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. Now, let's say, I pledge to sow my little seed. To make AI. People that don't pledge you. To make AI. Favor me as an African. All right, so Professor, you wanted to say something.
So I guess this exposed my lack of knowledge about how AI works. But I'll give two instances. My office in Ibadan, is if you go to Google Maps, the address is so people who have lived there, who bought property and so on, know it as Owabeneke Drive. Now, when you put on Google, if Owabeneke has been found in a different location, right? And so, if you want to come to my office, I have to give you the location that Google has marked it as, and not the location that is known as. Now, why am I saying this? If you start doing, everybody puts so, for instance, they said we will part discovered Africa, whatever. If I put information that is wrong, ChatGPT takes it up, or whoever takes it up, and we all put all wrong information because of our lack of, and that's why in internet academic journal, we have what we call a peer review system. And you write a book, it was put through an editorial process, and experts will say, hey, this my paper is not publishable because of A, B, C. So who is checking what we're putting on, right? And so it's important that because anybody can write anything. I can choose to say that something is somewhere in Mr. Forest. And I can get your company to say the same thing. We will begin to tell all kinds of narratives, right? And so somebody else started the research assume that something is actually Mr. Forest because AI has a different kind of information. I don't know how AI works, but I think that we need to try to have some kind of peer review mechanism where we do not think, so for instance, Wikipedia, anybody can put anything on Wikipedia, and if your research child is dependent on Wikipedia, you're going to be what we call intermediate out. So there needs to be some kind, this is where probably law and policy will come into play to ensure that AI use is somewhat regulated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, so we have a question or a contribution.
Okay, mine will be in form of.
Are you from Sapele?
Okay, fantastic. Are you from Sapele?
Are you from Sapele?
Okay, Sapele boys. I wanted to correct some erroneous impression about artificial intelligence. Because this is my field. And I wanted you guys to know that it's not just as simplified as you stated. It's an aggregation of experiences. When you aggregate experience, there are several factors involved, including the bias of the algorithm created by owners of that same language. So ChatGPT, which is one of the open source documents you find available, there are a lot of open source documents. But for me, and I will tell people who are writers or practitioners in public relations, which is my forte, we've always said that artificial intelligence tools are enablers. They are supposed to be meant to assist in doing what you do and make it effective and better. It will not take away the human intelligence from you. Now, but there's this ongoing challenge to find between millennials, Gen Zs, Gen Alpha, and all other generations as we live, and that is called intellectual fatigue. So the thing is, I get a document and I feel comfortable with what an AI tool has been able to do to me, and I just take it copy and paste, or you just take it hook and then you will see. So the thing is this, there's always a warning at the bottom of every application that it will tell you that there's a tendency that the information you're getting is not accurate. Now, for anyone who is involved in scholarship, it is only appropriate for you to know the exact kind of tool to use. ChatGPT is what we call weak or generative AI tool. There are agentic AI tools, there are casual AI tools, there are over 1 billion types of AI tools coming out today. And the interesting thing about artificial intelligence is that the knowledge you have 30 minutes ago will not be relevant in the next 10 minutes. Because there are more upgrades and applications as a result of application of experience. And it is not quite simple to say, keep loading up information, and because it's an aggregator of experience, it will accept some things. Now, the question you also ask yourself is, the architect's bias. A guy who has never been to Africa will be one of the architects of the AI tool you're using. And there's a reason for him to form his experience based on what he knows, to compute with the algorithms and the bias that will come out from what you output. For example, you want to use an AI tool for the design, and you say, Africans, I need pictures of Africans, African American Africans, blacks, and it brings pictures of slave trade. That may sound offensive to you, but that is the function of the experience from the architect of the designer of that century. So the thing is, what is essential is knowing the appropriate tool to use for your work. Now, for those who are into writing, there are tools that will help in terms of grammatical errors, looking at your tenses, looking at how to phrase, how to make paragraphs and all that. But what is important is knowing the right tool to use. For example, there's Perplexity AI that has up to 96% accuracy on research materials. All it will do is, by the time you feed it with keywords you want, there's a high tendency for it to give you scholarly words wherever they be found, and that could help in doing your job. But it does not take away the fact that natural intelligence is a key driver. After all, natural intelligence is what has led to the building of artificial intelligence. Simply with machine learning that has become quite. And today we have artificial super intelligence, we have artificial ultra super intelligence. So there will continue to be more upgrades in technology to make our jobs easier. But it's not as easy as saying putting in all your experiences there and getting the feedback as accurate. Thank you.
Alright. Sorry, please remain standing because it's as if you are the solution to our problem. Please put your hands together for the AI person.
My name is Michael Sashibo.
Okay, what?
Morning, Michael Sashibo.
Okay, Mr. Monday. Now, how can we build our own AI? Our own.
No, I don't know. A lot of AI tools have been built here.
I'm talking about Labaf AI, like just go like as we see ChatGPT, we now see Labaf, GP or something like that.
Yeah, we have, for example, for story writing, even for journalists now, we have to read AI locally developed.
No, that's not what I want.
According to Labaf, you see, what you will know is to build first, what is your guide? What does Labaf seek to achieve with the AI tool that you're creating? Is it to enhance scholarship in fictional writing or non-fictional writing? And how do you start writing a story? Now, these things are parameters you need to impute. For example,
So
if
you're saying it's
we
possible for us to
yes,
do it
it's
now
possible.
instead
There
of
are
using
a lot of open source documents. That's what I'm saying. Now, for example, your ChatGPT, if you're using the premium package, not the free package,
Yes.
you have the right to take ownership of your intellectual work.
Yes.
And you could. I'll give you, for example, I run an online news site. And I have a house style. We have the way our stories should be written, our paragraphs, our font size. Once the correspondent sends a story, because we've imputed it there, we will just simply give the prompt. Kindly rewrite a quick news Africa's news format. What it will do is it will follow those instructions. What should be on the first paragraph, what should be on the second paragraph, not more than 4 paragraphs, not more than 800 words. And now the thing is, when Labaf is going to create his own AI tool,
Yes.
what is it creating the AI tool for? To achieve what? Is it to help for writers to publish books?
Okay, so
is it for people who want to set up exhibition stands?
Okay. So we're going to get back to you. Please, don't go anywhere because we need our own AI to ChatGPT. Don't tire me. How many of you are tired of ChatGPT?
Nobody should be tired of it. The tool
All
that
right.
serves you better.
So now we want to ask, I don't know, anyone online, do you have any contributions to make if you're online? You have something to say about what we've said. We can take one person online. And then we'll just take one question. Does anybody have any question? Okay, so let's round up. Let's do a last minute recap. Okay. All right, sir. Please, can you hand over the microphone? Please introduce yourself and then ask your question. All right. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. I'm just worried about the ethical issues about, because if there's not taking one who just feel free, using the various tools and not remembering to really credit the AI generated ideas, which I think is normal. I've really not seen that in a lot of works, which are really derived from AI. So, because I came in when you were showing your book that you created the video of AI, and I meant to ask whether you actually created the source and the rest of it. So, I think that's okay.
So there's something called plagiarism. Plagiarism. Okay. Are you done asking a question?
Well, I meant to find out how we could really attack the issue of originality while using AI tools. A writer uses originality, and then his voice, his style. So how does he keep all this intact even while using AI tools? Thank you.
All right. So I said I wrote this book purely with AI. It doesn't mean that AI I wrote. It doesn't mean I said AI write the book for me. What I did, I realized that it was almost 100 days to all our new local government chairmen. And they always celebrate 100 days. So I said, this one that they are saying they are doing a lot, let me really see whether they are doing a lot. So what did I do? I started to check out what was really being done. I stayed at home. They will say, we've done this. I was there when they were handing over GCE funds. I was there for empowerment. I have friends that benefited from the empowerment. So I got all the information, and all the information that are on this book. This is for our Papa. The information there is exactly what she was able to do in 100 days. So what AI helped me do is, first of all, I put her picture. This is her real picture. But I just said, give me a 3D Pixar style picture, and he gave me this. Now, if you look through it, this is the best that's happened to me because I've always done books, but I've never really used AI to do it. This is the first one I'm using AI. Now, you can see that there's consistency in the character. See what she looks like here. It's still what she looks like here. Now, there's something called character AI. Consistent character is an AI tool as well. When I was able to find out all this information, I was able to get this ready. So the thing is, it is my story. It is me that wrote. I went and I said, what has this woman done in her papa? And I now started to find out the things she had done. So I now wrote it in simple language. So what AI will do for you is to work on your tenses. and then work on your punctuations. Not that it will give you the idea of the thing. If you don't put in stuff, it's what you want to get done that will be done. So I don't know whether I've answered your question. For plagiarism, a lot of times, some people just go and say, write a book for me about how to make money. Now, that is totally AI that has written that. So when you are going to put up books, if you are in Amazon, if you have an account in Amazon, they ask you one question on Amazon. They say, is this book AI generated? Amazon will ask you. There is no going that you want to. I know I'm coming. Let me just round up. Amazon will ask you. There is no such thing as plagiarism. Amazon will ask you, did you do this by AI? Of course, you will say yes. I generated images with AI. But the words, when they are doing the stories or podcast stories, they will ask you for the text. They will ask you for pictures. And then that's basically it. So I don't know if I'm able to answer your question. And then, okay, you have a question. Okay. Microphone.
Okay. Let me project.
Okay.
His question is simple. In that book,
Yes.
you mentioned a few things that AI did for you.
Yes.
Did you credit AI, the particular